I'd like to address the issue of, like the look on the face of this girl's photo, guilt. Selfish pleasure leads to commit murder. Then we feel guilty. You see, terminating one's own child, giving the baby poison, giving the doctor the orders, what is it really? It is really murder. So, when we deal with this issue, we have to be very sensitive, because there's a generation of people, like adults and your parents, that have not seen these photos. And so we're not trying to make them feel bad. We're not trying to condemn the previous generation and stir up animosity or bitterness to this subject. And so if you're ever talking about the issue of abortion, you need to have an answer to guilt. And wherever I give, and my team give this seminar, there's always 2 or 3 girls crying, falling off their chair, weeping when they see what they did to their own baby. So we have to deal with the issue of guilt now. Also, we have to deal with the issue of guilt for the guy that watches a 12-year-old girl raped 2 times a night on his mobile for his entertainment instead of Tom and Jerry or cartoons, watching a bit of rape before he goes to sleep at night. And those guys that watch violent pornography, especially child pornography in young girls, you can see by their face, they're not being paid for this. They are being abused. And as you're watching the guilt in their face, and as you're seeing the pain that they're going through, what's happening is you feel guilty. So we need to know how to deal with this guilt today, because otherwise this message is incomplete. I think it's something like this: the solution to guilt. Forgiveness from God. Having a clear conscience. Feeling innocent. Knowing that the Almighty, whoever He is, forgives. If that person truly is sorry for what they've done. There was a lady in one of my lectures, and she cried for 2 hours after my speech. And after 2 hours she came up to me and said 3 things. Number 1, Abhishek, I have had 3 abortions. Number 2, I was crying and I was praying to God. And I know He's forgiven me and He's heard me. And number 3, I want to join your team and go around the colleges and schools and speak out against pornography, immorality, and medical termination of pregnancy, abortion. And she did. She spoke to thousands of students over the next few months. So we want to have the answer for people's guilt today. You see, you've got many exams in your college, and these exams make your study serious. Because you have an exam and you get a marks card, it means that you concentrate in your study, because you want to be a bank manager, not make the tea for the bank manager. And you know, there is another examination you have. It's a moral examination. And you get a marks card the day after you die from the Almighty. And there's no retake in this exam. It is a moral examination. And on this marks card is not geography, history, maths, English. But on this marks card is, did you tell the truth? Did you take 500 rupees from your dad's pocket? Did you take a 1 lakh rupee bribe and pervert justice? Did you not forgive the person in your class? Did you say I love you to 2 girls the same night, sending text on your mobiles? Did you use your beauty to get your friends assignments and you were just acting? This moral marks card is very important. And number 1, if people truly want to pass the test in life, the most important test, then they should not be watching other people's wives having sex on their mobiles, and they should certainly not want to terminate their own child. However, if this has already happened, how about the guilt? What do we do about the guilt? Well, I think it's something like this. God doesn't want anyone to fail. He wants everyone to pass. What parent would want their own child to fail their examination? So what he does is he comes down to live in India. And he's looking around at all the people failing. And he thinks, oh my goodness, I've got to do something about this. And he's God, so he's got an amazing solution. So what he does is he lives an absolutely morally perfect life. He always obeys his parents. He doesn't watch too much television. He doesn't revise just the night before. He's disciplined with his studies. He takes it seriously. When someone's being picked on in class, he always goes and sits next to the guy in his class who no one's talking to. In every way, he's absolutely perfect. And then, one day he goes around, he's got an absolutely perfect 100% A+ moral marks card. And he goes around to everyone in India and he says, excuse me, I see your marks card, termination of pregnancy. Please give that to me. I don't want you to go to prison. I want you to go to paradise. I want you to pass your test of life. And therefore, give it to me and I will give you my moral marks cards. And the person goes, really? Really? You'll cancel all I've done wrong? Yes. And then he goes on to the next person and the next person. And in the end, as he goes to some people, they say, what? I'm a good person. I don't need your marks card. My marks card's fine, thank you. Pride causes most people on the planet to miss the purpose of life and think that their life is good enough. You see, it's not just the big issues, it's the small issues as well. This is a moral awareness program. And basically all the things we're saying is on your conscience. Everyone knows what's right and wrong, and no one completely does what's right all the time. If we lie once, what are we? If we steal once, what are we? We're a thief. If we lie once, we're a liar. But God has a solution. He doesn't want people to fail in life. And so he goes around those who are willing to humble themselves and say sorry. He takes their marks card. People are rejoicing. They can go and live forever. Eternity, going to the right place. But then there's one other part of this story. God's now got a few billion failure moral marks card. Watching this rape, having this abortion. He's got all this. And so he goes to Delhi. And there's 2 gang rapists being hung in Delhi. No one can see the marks card. He's in hidden format. It's in his account. It's in his... it's a divine court case against him now for everyone else's behalf. And he takes all these failure moral marks cards and he stands in the court and he allows them to hang him as well. In other words, God Almighty is executed so that people who have had an abortion can be totally and completely acquitted according to His justice. God is very, very forgiving. He will do anything to forgive people. If you've had an abortion, I'm not saying this, we're not saying this so that you feel terrible and go out and harm yourself. No, you missed it. God will forgive you if you just say sorry. He's so good. And when you get forgiveness from God, you know in your conscience you're peaceful and you feel okay. Many ladies, they'll take a balloon, and when they've realised what they've done with an abortion, they'll release that balloon with a little card. On the card they put the name of their child that's in heaven with God, and they'll release that balloon and say, God, this is the name I want for my child, which one day I will see when I go to heaven.